I'm a herbalist, and I'm a founder of the House of Remedies. I'm a creative writer, I'm a poet, MC, street MC. I'm a recording artist, and basically I'm a writer, but much more inclined on pursuing the balance between spirituality and the physical life. So in a nutshell, Uras Hero is spiritually motivated person, yet always balance the physical state of existence with spirit, because as we all know, what is above, so it reflects what is below.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you please lead us into a breathing meditation, brother? So usually we have a short breathing meditation, not short, a brief breathing meditation, because Menzi is correctly last time, Whitey, we can't use the same short and breathing and meditation in the same sentence. So we're gonna have a brief breathing meditation, and from there, just to invite our ancestors ukuthi sikuphi, size la, sizoyenza.
Yeah, like the breathing meditation, it varies from one practice to the other. So I don't know if I cover it already.
No, you can. So I will lead the breathing meditation. Sorry, guys. I'll just lead the breathing meditation. If uhlezi esitulweni, or if umile, it doesn't really matter. Just find a comfortable position for yourself, and then you breathe in, and you're gonna breathe out. So it's you inhale in, and then inhale out. Okay.
Yeah, and to add on that, as we breathe, we have to know what is experiencing about it. Like as we live, we are like we're living in a bandwidth of the electromagnetic spectrum. I understand. So as we breathe, as we inhale the magnetic force, and we exhale out the electrical force, which makes us to be beings that operates electromagnetically. Basically, breathing meditation comes handy out of the understanding that we have 17 breaths of meditation called Ikhambi. It's well known to abantu abaningi. And with Ikhambi, what is happening is we're trying to cleanse the electronic belt. So as Ukoko Asho would say, you breathe in, you breathe out. So you don't even breathe in with only your pulmonary region, but with your diaphragm, because that's.
So you breathe in from here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. So you breathe it, like breathing meditation. It's goes hand in hand with to stimulate the nervous system with the endocrine system. So how do we go about doing that? We breathe in out of visualizer, the electromagnetic spark, the white beam of light. We don't in when you exhale. Or a bedding, or we find the most comfortable position. So when you're there now, you tap into that vortex, that energy vortex of open a vision, like your visual capability. You breathe in the point beam of light, and you exhale out the electromagnetic force. What we're dissecting here, what is understand the air that we breathe is a combiner of what is below and what is above. As umundu, you have what you call the electronic belts. That's where now we talk about the Akashic record of DNA. All of the things ozenzayo, the earthly impurities, ezingcolisa the self, zistorega in the electronic belt, And then we know within a human being there are other bodies. So within these bodies there lies the causal belt, with which yonke into producer, be it from the vortex of the mind, the consciousness, your emotions, your free will, yonke into that leads to inside the light gets stored. So the casual body, you know. So the first breathing, oyenzayo, breathing, the first 10, you cleanse the electronic belts with that breathing process as you inhale from the diaphragm, you exhale, you understand? So we're trying to clear off the earthly impurities. And then the Dow 17 now, that's where we're trying to let the beam of light to flow through the Sushumna, what we call the prana, or in Kemetic language, you call the Sekem, the life force, the Ausar. Because the Ausar, we talk about, it's the spine that carries a life, you know? So we enlighten also with the last 17, because as I said earlier on, there are 17 breaths to make up everything. Make up, by the way, means if vehicle, you know. So in order for us to connect from the physical stance here on the top, the higher self, you know, we need this vehicle, there's a carrier to there. So we do it through breathing, you know, and yeah.
Yeah, that was too, yeah. Like, I mean, ne? So you find a comfortable position, and then from there, Mina, I will just lead you, and then you take a deep breath in. So you breathe in. Hold it. And then as you breathe out, you release all the impurities and everything that will hinder you from receiving this message today. And then you release. And then you take another deep breath in, sucking in all the energies. Brother, I said that I was explaining. And then you release all the impurities. And then you take one last breath in. And then you release. As we saying Shilo, Sihlezilana, no Brother Heru. At the current moment, we are in the season of Ausar, and I think Brother already has touched on Ubuti energy aga Ausar. But today, I wanted us to focus on the resurrection portion of it, because the theme for this season that we chose as Ikhambi is the resurrection part. When you think about Ausar, Gwen, and you think the word resurrection, what does it mean to you?
To me, it awakens what has been lying so dormant and inactive, you know, for quite a while. Now, when we talk about Ausar, as you remember the allegory, as it points out that there was an incident whereby Ausar's brother Seth, hopefully everybody knows about the story of Seth dissecting Ausar into 14 segments, but that was the second attempt of Seth trying to maim, or rather to distract Ausar. The first attempt was when Seth built a coffin, and then he tricked. He find his way to swindle his brother, Ausar, would say he must get inside the coffin. And then Ausar went in, and then said, well, Naila. He locked him in, and then he nailed it, and then he threw it in the Nile River, and then it flew down to Syria. So there, the king of Syria saw it, and then it was so appealing to the eye, you know, and then he ordered to decree to his servant, who said he must cut the tree because he wanted to make a pillar out of the tree in his palace. So the pillar, it's called the Jet pillar. The Jet is derived from the ancient Egyptian word called the Jedu. Jedu means steadfast. So now to break it down, because these things, they came in allegoric forms, they came in parables, and then they came as infanegi, so you know. So let us try to unpack the message, the gist of it, the core essence of Ubuti. What are these allegories contain? So the Jet pillar is the spine of a human being. The reason why all the time when I heard about Ausar, I'm thinking of what has been laying dormant and so inactive by ama-earthly impurities. You know, it's because within umuntu, from birth, you know, from the cell, from the spermatozoon of the father and the pronucleus, womb of the mother, when they come together, they form a cell, another amanyama cells, the mitosis amanyama cells that multiplies into 8. So these 8 cells, they lay we core of a base, you know, and then now that's where now the energy comes from, like the electromagnetic energy of a human being emerges from, you know. So from the spine, there lies the life essence, the life force, the sekhem, or what we call the seketi, aru. So Seket Aru is this life force that sustains each and every aspect within the wide spectrum of the universe. So now, by activating this life force coming from these 8 cells, that's how now you activate the essence of Ausar. There wasn't like a human being called Ausar there, but these are attributes of how Earth operates itself, because we know the Earth, the nature, is an epitome of God's power, the epitome of Jehuti, the intellectual happenings of the God self, we understand. So we activate this life essence, the Ausar essence, the jet pillar, that's the Syrian king, cut down, wayenza pillar, we palace, you know. So this pillar, when it's portrayed, it had 4 spheres above. These 4 spheres represent the realms of which a human being is made up of, you know. As a human being, you are of flesh, you know, the physical body. That's the first layer, ulama 4 spheres on top of the jet pillar. So the first one represented like EVTA, so physical, the 3D limited world, you understand? And then within a human being, you know, there lies an astral realm, you know, of which must transcend. We transcend the flesh and we pass through the astral realm, you know. So the second one represents the astral realm, and the third one represents the casual realm, the duet, where now Ausar orders our judgments of each and every soul that has incarnated the earth. And then the last one called the Nerbeja. So all of these spheres, they are enshrined within each and every one, but they all lie inactive and dormant through accumulation of earthly impurities, you know. So to open Ausar is to understand that the God energy, the divine energy lies within, deeply within the human being. I'm talking about the vortex of the unconscious mind, you know, what we're not aware of as we are more inclined to the physical existence of illivity, you know. So by not tapping or not being inclined towards open those channels within us that opens us to the God self, we maim Ausar into 14 pieces. So the 14 pieces represent the state of ignorance, the spiritual oblivion, you know, and it's represented by the 14 sides of the waning moon, whereas the waxing moon represents the reconstruction now of Ausar by Nkosi, his consorts, Isis or Set rather.
That's very powerful, actually. Now I'm actually thinking about it. The resurrection part actually comes through via his wife in some way. And the fact that when you say, if you're not recognizing the Ausar within you, you are in a state of ignorance.
True that. And it strips us away from who we really are, the God self, you know. So Ausar is that divine energy that flows within our 33 foramens, within our 33 vertebrae as human beings, you know. So as we meditate, since we are starting to breathe, we're still opening the Ausar, because it's the air that passes through the hollow foramens of the spinal cord, passing through these 7 psycho-spiritual vortexes known as chakras, you know. So it's just one thing being portrayed differently by different cultures, you know. So
I'm actually just thinking about it, that we often associate the whole chakra healing with the East. And even within us, Ekaya, injalo.
yeah, true that.
And for me, I just wanted I wanted us to go back in terms of, you said we needed to find the Ausar within us. How would you then say, how do we find Ausar within us?
Yeah, well, we know that everything at the core level, at a certain degree of consciousness, because everything is consciousness, an extension of consciousness, you know. So we know that everything is being comprised of this homogeneous divine energy, the God, you know, the energy within the neutrons, protons, electrons, the invisible, intangible energy, the Ra, the Ta, you know. So this energy had to find mediums and channels to express itself, to extend itself through infinity until eternity. So human beings are part of these divine expressions, you know. So now, one beautiful thing about the universe, it didn't just create a human being as a robot. We had free will, willpower. It's within the willpower of a human being to choose, do you want to open up to the divine self or not? First of all, I need to highlight that, you know, in order for us to open Ausar, it comes with the personal choice and the knowledge of understanding us as human beings. We're not just physical bodies, we're not our names, we're not our minds, we're not our emotions, but deeply within us, there lies the God essence, you know. So now, pointing back to the main question of how do we open up to Ausar, you know. So out of that knowledge of understand who we are really as human beings, you know, we get to see the spirit had to find ways to express itself. The spirit took form in an incarnation as a human being. So we are the God, we are the goddesses. So
you know what you're making me think of yesterday? So my son, he was asking Guti, who is God? Like in the sense that God is in heaven. And I'm like, who told you that God is in heaven? Where is heaven? And I'm like, God is everything that is living, and like everything that you see. And I'm like, wow.
There's still a wide range of decolonization that we need to, you know, undergo. So now we all of the, remember that I tried to highlight as human beings, we are of dark, we are of light, the yin, the yang, the good, the bad, the set, and the Ausar within us. So it depends on the willpower as a human being, which wolf, because both wolves, they are inside, the Ausar and the set, you know, the ego and the enlightenment within, the enlightenment of wisdom within, the divine intuitive wisdom of the heart. You know, it depends on the willpower of a human being, which wolf are you feeding. And mind you, that doesn't mean, that is not to say you have to starve the other, because, you know, a hungry dog is an angry dog, you know. So both, they need to be put in a state of equilibrium, a balance. Life is all about balance. Nature is all about balance. So once we first tap on that vortex again of consciousness, it will be so easy for us to be inclined towards the direction of overstand, I would say, in order for us to open the Ausar, because now this is Zulu, right? The Ausarian season, you know, that doesn't mean probably next season the whole Ausarian thing is being echo. We understand. So it's an ongoing process. Ascension is an ongoing process. What is it that we're trying to ascend? This divine energy deep within us, is inclined to a state of morality now, because now Ausar couldn't be just the king of upper and lower Egypt, you know, meaning the higher self and the lower self within a human being. You know, if Ubengeko, in a sense of royalty, he's a king because he followed Mart. So the 42 ideals or principalities of Mart are the key openers of Uguvulela Ausar, because they are the universal, they are the universal decree of which now the God self in a form of a human being needs to carry out in order to balance what is above with what is below. So through living, out of living through Mart, that's how now the Ausar. Remember, Ausar is that energy that exists within everyone, but it lies like dormant and inactive out of accumulations of earthly impurities, right? So now, Mart, levity, Mart, abiding by the laws of Mart. That's how now we get to learn how to open up Ausar within us, you know. So it's not a Mart season. I don't think we should go further to Mart season, but basically Ausar, that's how we open up Ausar, because Ausar is the king of the upper Egypt, the higher self and the lower self, the physical self and the casual self, you know, out of living or abiding by the principles of Mart, the 42 principles of Mart, we get to open Ausar and Jan.
So, you know, as you're saying that, I'm actually thinking, we often think, we cannot then bring in the energy of the ISIS, like everything is interdependent.
It is, because now, Feds, named Ausar, as I said earlier on, the coffin flew to Syria. It was Ausar who gathered with her sister, Nephthys or Nephthys. We would see they must go all out in all regions of ancient Kemet to look for the body of Ausar. By the spirit of Tehud, they were led to Syria. So then Syria, ISIS again managed to bring back the body of Ausar to the royal palace in Egypt. So as Ibodi there, Set again came through and stole the body, you know. Oh, by the way, the body was already dead, you know, it was a dead corpse of Ausar. So Set managed to steal up the body for the second time. Now we took the body, white dissect into 14 pieces, as we like then explain it, like 14 pieces usho in 14 stages of darkness as Upilu incarnate the states of the ignorance, you know, the states represented by the waning moon, you know. So
would you say the chakra then becomes the third eye?
Yeah, it's a part of the system of third eye, you know. The chakra system, they host a third eye as a part of Warna, chakra system, or the Safej Para, the seven souls of God, you know. So it was ISIS basically, you know. The whole central focus should also be on, because without ISIS there wouldn't be Ausar. Because after the 14 pieces, he managed to bring back again the 14 bodies. The only part was the phallus, the private part. So what are all of in zonke lezo zinto lezo, you know, ISIS is the intuitive wisdom of the heart. ISIS is the life bringer. ISIS is the life essence. ISIS is the light of wisdom, you know. So when now Ausar, you know, which is a representation of everyone, you know, the casual self that lies dormant in darkness, you understand? ISIS as a wisdom is the only thing that can resurrect a state of oblivion, spiritual oblivion. It's only wisdom that can resurrect a person into the higher state of the God self, you know? So yeah.
I wanted us to open up for questions. Do we have any questions? Menzi, do we have questions on Facebook? Brother Menzi? Okay. Do we have questions here on our Zoom on the Zoom chats? Do we have any questions? Brother Menzi has his hand raised. You're on mute, Mkudu. We can't hear you. Okay. In the absence of questions, do we have any questions here? Do we have any questions here? We don't have any questions. Okay, cool. So I wanted to ask in terms of practical rituals that we can do on a daily basis.
Yeah. There's a wide range of
we've touched on meditation.
breathing meditation. There's actually quite a wide range of practical or pragmatic practices that one could conduct in order to open up to these treasures of enlightenment, according to our own ancient spiritual framework, one of them being in meditation, as we started by breathing sessions, and yoga called the Smai Tawe, because all of these hieroglyphics, Aboshu, Neptats, they were fashioned in the position of yoga, and out of understanding, I would say, as a human being, about our spirituality on a physical self, is being stimulated by glandular system and the nervous system. So these yoga postures or Smai Tawe postures rather, it stimulates that very same purpose, energy within us. So Smai Tawe is the ancient primitive yoga system from which all other yoga techniques all over around the world was derived or taken from. So taking care of the nature, as I said, we would say Ausar, Mart, Asis, these are the one things but portrayed differently. Taking care of nature.
People forget that.
Yeah.
And when you touch on that part, I get
it's a
because especially in the name of spirituality, the amount of polluting that we do in the name of spirituality.
Yeah, it's saddening. Because now we the month of Ausar again, when we check our iconographies, is portrayed as a god with a green body. It's either green or black. So black representing the life essence, which is the ether, and then green represented the vegetation. So coming to a point of Gogo, right now, Ausar, we are hluma, njengokubona izinto zihluma ziba green sithola imvelo, because nature declares the glory of the Most High Ra, So Ra is the same energy, life force, the hidden energy, but it had to take form in a form of a human being as a Ausar, So Ra is Ausar Ta. So in nature declares that glory of that hidden force. We understand that. So now Ausar is flourishing, is blooming out. That's why we season yonke into green. We get living unomkhubulwane asinisela ngemvula emalangeni. We had raindrops, and everything is just refreshing, So it's a resurrection of Ausar ngaleyo ndlela ukuthi nature the more it bloom, and the nature we need to attune to those patterns of nature, study channels of nature, because the more we behave positively towards the nature now, it reacts on energy positive, you understand? So we are nature, we are like part and parcels of nature. So destroy nature somehow destroy it, like our exactly. And the whole notion of pollution out there, in the name of spirituality. The external impurities, they are a reflection of the inner psychological pollution, because there wouldn't be anyone, or as you would see, in order for me, this tree smelling nigga, oxygen and keeping carbon dioxide, that's delicate bond between tin and slata. So if we as that thing, that's smart, you wouldn't dare pollute in nature, because within you, when a level of consciousness, you would see nature, impurities of nature reflect the impurities yami first. You understand? So it all starts within, you know what I mean? So taking care of nature, and we are
giving back.
Exactly, giving back, because Now, the very same aspect that makes in nature are the very same aspect that makes a human being. A certain amount of water is found within you. A certain amount of fire is found within you. A certain amount of air is found within you. And you are the flesh hosting all of these three elements, you know. So the four elements are you. We are the four elements. So we are the nature, you know. So each and every tree out there in the forest represent a human being.
Yeah. We've got a comment. So because we are out there, out and about. It's so fitting that like it's season Ausar, and we decided to go and play with nature.
Yeah, true.
So I need to read a comment from Queen Pagamile. Uti, so true. Nature is so peaceful and healing. Should love and respect it. I think when I read that statement, I'm just thinking from an element of respect as well. You know, like respect goes so far. Hey, respect goes so far in a sense that if you don't respect nature, therefore you're not respecting yourself. I think that's the core of what I've got from your message.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And the electromagnetic pollution that is, you know, airborne wise, we forget that the very air that you breathe in that same position you are in.
You've got a hand raised.
Okay.
Everyone. So I wanted to get your views regarding yoga.
We're gonna lose visuals in 30 seconds. I just wanted to notify everyone that we're gonna lose visuals. But we can continue. Please continue.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, perfect. So I wanted to ask Ama's views, brother, regarding yoga. I think it's an important practice. Recently, but I tend to like how Eastern is it? And by me saying Eastern, I have no issues with like, you know, Eastern practices, but I just wanted to know, like, as an African, you know, is it something? How do I freely do all those practices without like? I think I worry about, am I appropriating from other cultures? I mean, you know, and I mean, obviously I'm a human being first, you know, but I mean, I am African as well. So I think that's just the aspect. And while we're at that, recently, a lot of the people who actually are supposedly the yogis, you find which is like white women who are actually the gurus now, you know, owning this. And it feels like so fake because, I mean, it's not even their culture, you know, and you know, so I think that's my only thing. So I just wanted to know his views regarding that. Thanks.
Thank you, sister. Yes, sister. I think that's a vital question, you know. And for instance, when we check in, like yoga as how we commonly know it as something that's is of the Western culture, especially India. And when we look like India, you're talking about the civilization of the Nile River. I mean, sorry, of the Indo Valley, you know, ancient people who established the Ganges civilization, you know. And when we check either etymology, the epistemology, when we trace the genealogy of Bona, you will find Uguti, they trace as far back as ancient time, antique times of ancient Kush, you know. The civilization, you know, of Egypt, came from Kush.
Last week, was it the week before last, where I showed a picture of the Andaman people? They look like us. They look black like us. I kid you not.
Exactly.
And they are classified as Indian people.
Yeah.
And I think last we were talking about that you find African people everywhere. It's not just in Africa. So if we say that we must be careful that of canceling things out because we might end up canceling ourselves in the process.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Because as we say, the Africa is a cradle of mankind. So all of these practices, they were carried out all over the world, by different cultures, but the cradle, we know what the cradle is Africa. The very first fossil of a human being was found in the region of the base of the Nile, the foothills of the Moon Mountain. And that is located in what we know in modern times as Ethiopia, Kush, Uganda, Mount Mary in Kenya, So now it's a question, sister. It's vital, in terms of in as much as we shouldn't forget ourselves, all of these branches of spirituality, the whole spiritual framework is Sugai Africa. We can't forget that. Yet again, we need to keep in mind, now we're tapping to the realm of the unknown, the spirit, the hidden force, the life hidden force that doesn't distinguish between an African, a white person, an Indian, a Chinese. We are all carbon-based
I wanted
material,
to tell Brother Menzi that we actually seeing his screen.
Okay.
Brother Menzi. Unless that's his intention to show us something. Okay.
Okay, should I proceed?
You can proceed.
Yeah. So basically, when we talk about different techniques of yoga, in as much as it is so significant for us to outline, they all come from the Black King, Africa, Al-Kebulan. Yet again, it doesn't carry any streak of prejudice, because we're all carbon-based material as human beings, regardless of our doctrines, races, our racial stances, and what and whatnot, The yoga, it's opened to each and everyone, despite of the color, the skin pigmentation, and it calls out for collective human consciousness to come forward to this enlightenment of self-knowledge, awakening of what lies dormant, like deep within the Ausar, the Kundalini energy, the Sekem, the life essence, the prana, you name it, like they just varies according to different cultures. But at the end of the day, when you check with your spiritual eye, it's one and the same thing all over, So that's like my answer to your question, sister.
Are you answered?
Yes, I am. Thank you. That was beautiful. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, sister. Do we have any other questions? Okay, we don't have any other questions, brother. So in closing, before network is failing nayo. Yeah. Before all systems shut down and everything, and what would be your closing words?
My closing words would be, as human beings now, our societies are in a state of like a breakdown, everything is just going south, in terms of immorality. So we know that this ancient civilization, the thing that's made our ancestors manage to uphold, like our societies with the peace, with the balance, social harmony. It was due to the fact that they have put into practice principles that activate immorality, ethical morality within a spectrum of a human being individually. So us now in these modern times, if we could try by all means, to remember that we are not just the flesh, our ship sails on this ocean of consciousness, and the rudder is the amount of immorality, in order for us to rebuild a balance on our social spectrum, is to restore and bring back our morals ubantu. Everybody knows into good ngesikhathi esigood. You know, that's smart. You know, everybody knows ukuthi into good should always prevail. You know, that's smart. You know, and in order for us to prevail such elite, we need to abide by certain disciplines. You know, certain moral codes. You know, be it in a legislative arena, be it in our wide framework of African practices, be it in our politics, socio-economical stance of existence. So each and every aspect, each and every sphere of our society needs to be upheld by our moral principles, ethical principles. Therefore, that is how we open the life essence within us, the Ausar, the Jed pillar. That's how we become steadfast, because the word Jed means steadfast, you know. So in order for us to see Avantaba steadfast, we need to resurrect the Ausar. How we resurrect the Ausar? We do it by applying our moral, ethical principles in our lives, you know, respect, tolerance, balance, you know, justice, all of those, you know, see, be pragmatic, you know, Swens be pragmatic, you understand, take care of Invelo, take care of abantu abadala, you know, random services, random acts of kindness, you know, yeah, like do good, man, do good, you know, like make to be practical and pragmatic, you know, and that would be my words, you know, of closing. Yeah, it will resurrect us up, like my moral principles, marked, you know, by putting marked into practice. Therefore, our direction as a collective, you know, consciousness within a society can take another turn leading towards light, you know. So, you know, God, heaven is all within. You know, sets, ego, it's also all within, but our moral principles within a human being guides, you know, each journey, you know, from womb to the tomb until siba matongo, you know, and we do that thing out of apply umart. Do good, man, do good, you know. Yeah.
Unfortunately, we are at the end of our session, but it was just like the knowledge was like, oh, make it not stop. So we can't switch on video because this last corner, the network is not that good. It keeps freezing on us. We can't switch on video. So we lost video feed a while back because of the bad connection. But yeah, so Uteno brother, do good.
Do good, man, all the time, 24/7.
Where do people find you?
Basically, I'm based like Soweto, but I'm kind of like all over, man. But like through social media, you can check me on Facebook. You can check me on Twitter.
What's your handle?
Okay, it's Rasheru SA. Yeah, Rasheru SA. That is on the handle of Twitter, and then on Facebook it's also Rasheru SA underscore Africa, and then yeah, but yeah, like physically, so I got around Soweto, Epara, because I'm also a founder of the House of the Remedies, so Epara. That's where I operate my shop, processing 100% plant-based medicines, and yeah.
Natasha is asking for your Instagram handle. Do you have Instagram?
I do. I just started it like recently. This is the person who takes care of those things. Yeah, so yeah, she can just.
Gogo is gonna share with us. Please share with us where we find Ukul, because Ikehla Alisa Kumbul. I'm a handle.
On Instagram, go at Heru SA or at Ras Heru SA. And then on Facebook, go Ras Hero. And then also on Twitter, it's @RasRSA.
Okay. Kele would like to say thank you to you, brother. As you can see, she's already expressed gratitude. Thank you so much. Unfortunately, Menzi does not have audio. Unless we can try. Menzi. Menzi, I got my audio for today. Queen Pagamile says thank you as well, love and light. Brother Heru is more active on Facebook. This is Menzi speaking, says Brother Heru is more active on Facebook. Please check him and we will get some of his work on our blog too. And on some of our page. I think we should do that. We will just post there some of the work, some of the products that you sell, because he does 100%
like herbal concoctions, herbal products. So you can check them on my page. Pity I couldn't, bring through for it to display.
Okay. I know, this is a post out too many times. This is a poster. With that being said, beloveds, if there's no other questions, love and light, and thank you for holding space with us.
Blessed. Amon Rapta, keep it at him. Siyabonga kwande mathongeni. Wonke umuntu sicela ukuthi abe neSunday lovely. And then sonke umdali ura asikelele. Ra siyabonga kakhulu. Thokoza Ausar thonga lokuqala. Amon Rapta.